What's good, everyone? Anderson Emerald here to talk about Jamaica. Jamaica. Listen, Jamaican fans, I love y'all. Y'all show so much love and support, but sometimes I feel like y'all go a little bit overboard when it comes to, certain things. And I think the Jamaican track and field community had a little bit of a freak out, a little unwarranted, and I want to make sure I can hopefully clear things up about Bryan Levell and the 4x1 at the World Championships coming up in just over about a week or two's time from now. Now, earlier today, by the time you're watching this, it's yesterday, Jamaica announced their team to the World Championships. So their entire team going to the Tokyo World Championships, everyone in the 100, the 200, the 800, the long jump, the 4x1s and 4x4s, the discus, like everyone. They announced their full team that will be competing at the Tokyo World Championships. Now, you see the expected names across the board. On the women's side, Tina Clayton, Shericka Jackson, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, as well as an alternate with Jodie-Ann Williams. I know people were talking about Tia Clayton, whole other discussion. Jodie-Ann got 4th place at trials. It is what it is. You have Akeem Blake, Oblique Seville, Kishane Thompson, Ryan Ford in the 100, right? All the way down to you have Navaski Anderson, you have Taylor, right? Both of them did amazing in the 800. Now Jamaica got their first two athletes going to the World Championships in the 800 ever, in terms of two athletes. Navaski has been going, I think, in previous years. But everything across the board, right? You even have Daniel Williams, with Akira Nugent, Moy Brown, Megan Tapper, right? Daniel has a wild card. All these kind of athletes are announced and are going to the World Championships in Tokyo in just a few weeks' time. Now, people took an immediate look at the 4x1, specifically on the men's and the women's side. Now, Tia and Tina Clayton, they're both in the relay pool. Amazing. Unfortunately, Tia Clayton, she didn't qualify to the World Championships individually, got injured at trials, and she finished 2nd place at the Diamond League final, so she missed her chance to compete individually and getting the wild card. But she is in the relay pool for the women, so that's excellent, along with Tina Clayton, Shericka Jackson, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, Janelle Smith, as well as Jodie-Ann Williams. Now, on the men's side, this is where people started to get, I guess, concerned, initially. Again, it's unfounded. We'll talk about, the rules in a second. Here we have Akeem Blake, you have Ryan Ford, you have Kadrian Goldson, you have Oblique Seville, you have Kishane Thompson, and you have Ron Watson. Now, one name is glaringly omitted: Bryan Levell. Bryan Levell is competing in the 200 at the World Championships, but people were figuring he should also be in the relay pool. Why? Because he's the 2nd fastest Jamaican in 2025, having run 9.82 seconds this year, only behind Kishane Thompson, who's run 9.75. Again, in 2025, Oblique Seville has run 9.83. He's clearly faster, than that. But just in terms of what's happened in 2025, Bryan Levell is the 2nd fastest Jamaican this year. Also, he has his chops in the 200, and I think many people were looking at the 4x1 squad as potentially being Akeem Blake handing off to Oblique Seville, handing off to Bryan Levell, handing off to Kishane Thompson. That arguably is the strongest team for Jamaica, and in my opinion, along with the Americans, both of them are very, very strong contenders for gold medals. It's a whole different discussion. Let's just talk about this relay and these rules. Now, what do the rules say about entering athletes into the relay pool? Well, the rules based on qualifications by World Athletics, for Tokyo 2025, it specifically says in the relay events, and it says, quote, each member federation will be allowed to enter one qualified team in each relay event. So one team in the 4x1 in this case, subject to the below. A total, and here it says, a total of 6 athletes may be entered. So what does Jamaica have in the relay? You have Akeem Blake 1, Ryan Ford 2, Kadrian Goldson 3, Oblique Seville 4, Kishane Thompson 5, Ron Watson 6, right? Makes sense. So a total of 6 athletes may be entered. These must include the individual athletes up to 4 entered in the respective individual event, 100 and 400. So again, just circling back, Akeem Blake, Oblique Seville, and Kishane Thompson, those are the 3 guys who competed and qualified for the 100 meters to the World Championships for Jamaica. So they are included as part of this relay, again, as per the rules here. Same thing in the 400, those guys are part of the 4x4. Note that this does not apply to the mixed 4x4, so that's a whole different discussion. So people were like, okay, that makes sense, but then why is it that you would put someone like Kadrian Goldson instead of Bryan Levell in here? And now the whole discussion of like, Bryan Levell, he's off the relay, JAAA is crazy, why did they do that? Well, let's take a step back. Bryan Levell is in the relay pool, and Bryan Levell is I mean, I don't know, but almost certainly I would venture to guess that he's going to run the relay. Again, I don't have like confirmation of that, but I'm 100% sure that Bryan Levell is in the relay pool and can compete on the relay, whether or not he's on this relay pool list or not. Why? Let's take a look at World Athletics rules as to what they say as it relates to athletes actually competing in the relay. And also, we're going to look at some history specifically relating to Jamaica and how these rules were implemented. So first off, I'm going to take a look at the updated competition rules for World Athletics as of 2025. In the competition rules, and we can take specifically a look at the relays. And I know this wording may be a little tricky, but here it says, each member of a relay team may run only one leg only. So obviously that makes sense. Shout out to Joshua Anderson from like 2008. If anyone knows that reference, for Washington State, I think it was. Yeah, that was a throwback. And then it says here, any 4 athletes from among those entered for the competition, so competition, world relays or world championships or Olympics or whatever it may be, right? Any 4 athletes from among those entered for the competition, whether for that or any other event. So this is where language may get tricky, but whether for that or any other event may be used in the competition, in the composition of the relay team for any round. So let me read this again. Any 4 athletes from among those entered for the competition, whether for that or any other event, may be used in the composition of the relay team for any round. So what is this saying? Whether for that or any event. It's literally saying whether you're entering an athlete who's in the relay pool. So as an example, Kadrian Goldson is entered in the relay pool, so he can be used in any round, or alternatively, or any other event. And again, we're talking about among those entered for the competition, whether for that, as in the relay pool, or any other event. So that means that anyone who's in this relay pool, they're entered so they can compete in that relay, or if they are entered in any other event at these championships. So that means Bryan Levell is also allowed, as per the rules, to compete on the relay. So he doesn't have to be entered into the relay pool as long as he's competing in an event at the World Championships, which he already is in the 200 in Tokyo. That means he can also run on the relay. What that also means is any other athlete who is competing in any event at the World Championships can also be used on the relay. So for example, if they decide that they need to use Orlando Bennett, they can use Orlando Bennett. If they decide that they need to use Rashawn Clark, they can use Rashawn Clark on the 4x1. If they decide that they need Romain Beckford on the 4x1, they can use him. If they need Frederick Dakers on the 4x1, they can use him, right? That's what the rules say, that among those entered for the competition, whether for that or any other event, may be used in the composition of the relay team for any round, so the heats or the finals, right? So I think that is where things got a little confusing because Bryan Levell's name did not show up in the relay pool. But what they did is, because he is competing in the 200 already at the World Champs, they don't have to enter him in the relay pool, because that's going to take a spot away from another athlete being able to be part of the relay, or at least being able to be there as an alternate or a reserve, potentially to be used on the relay. Because remember, they can only use 6 athletes into the relay pool, but then as per the rules, they can use any other athlete who is already competing at the meet to actually run on the relay. All right. So I know this may sound a little confusing, but let's be very clear. Even though Bryan Levell's name is not, on the 4x1 relay pool as per JAAA, he can still run, and almost certainly I'd bet he runs on that relay because he is already competing in the 200 at the World Championships. And just as an example, we just have to take a look back at 2019. Yes, I did a little digging because this is just a clear example of how this was actually implemented at a previous World Championships, specifically for Jamaica. 2019, Jamaica announces team for IAAF World Athletics Championships Doha 2019. Jamaica announces their team. Look at the relay pool. Let's specifically take a look at the women's side. Relay pool. Here you have Shaloni Calvert, you have Sasha Lee Forbes, you have Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price, Natasha Morrison, Janelle Smith, Elaine Thompson-Hira, Brianna Williams, and Natalia White. Now, this is a mix of the women who are running the 100. So Shelly, Elaine, Brianna, as well as Janelle, who is a reserve and alternate. You also have Shaloni, you have I think Sasha Lee Forbes is an alternate in the 200. And then you added in Natasha Morrison as well as Natalia White as well, to the relay pool. But regardless, just the numbers. These were the women who were entered in the relay pool. What actually happened on the 4x1 at the World Championships in 2019 for Jamaica? Does anyone remember? Let's take a look. 4x1, World Athletics, 2019 World Athletics Championships. Who's that? Does that look like someone who's in the relay pool? No. Look at who ran anchor leg. Shericka Jackson. Shericka Jackson ran the 4x1 anchor leg for Jamaica at the 2019 World Championships. But why? She wasn't actually listed in the relay pool here. Well, remember the rule that I said, right? If an athlete, any 4 athletes from among those entered for the competition, whether for that or any other event, may be used in the composition of the relay team for any round. In 2019, Shericka Jackson, she wasn't entered in the relay pool here, but she was entered in the 400 and she competed in the 400. She was in a different event. At the 2019 World Championships, if I can pull it up very quickly, she actually won a bronze medal in the 400. This is before the days of her, switching to becoming a 100-meter sprinter or 200-meter sprinter, right? She was a true 400-meter sprinter, having won bronze in 2015 as well as 2016 at the Olympics, and then once again in 2019. But she also was able to compete on the 4x1 for Jamaica, running the anchor leg. I don't think she ran the anchor in the prelims. No, she just ran in the finals. She ran the anchor leg because she was already competing in an individual event at the World Championships. Another example, this is just one example, but 2017, remember 2017 World Championships? Unfortunately, not the greatest in terms of the finish, but Jamaica on the 4x1. Yes, Usain Bolt, unfortunately, the last race of his career, he crashed out, got injured on that anchor leg. But Omar McLeod, he ran the leadoff leg for the 4x1 for Jamaica. Guess what? What he was doing at these World Championships, he was winning the gold medal at the in the 110-meter hurdles, right? He wasn't a 100-meter sprinter. He wasn't a 200-meter sprinter. He was winning the 110-meter hurdles, but he was still able to be used for the 4x1 because he was competing in an individual event at the World Championships that year in 2017. Once again, Shericka Jackson, she was running the 400 in 2019, but she was running the anchor leg on the 4x1 for Jamaica. 2025, Bryan Levell, he is entered in the 200 and now going to the World Championships. Even though he's not in the relay pool, he can still compete on the relay because he's already competing in another event at the meet. All right, so overall, just wanted to give you a quick, I love y'all Jamaican fans, I love y'all, but sometimes y'all be jumping to conclusions without kind of like thinking through some of these details. And I'll be honestly fair, not to come at, anybody. It's just that, I think things get a little amped up and it's like hyped up. It's like, oh my gosh, Bryan Levell, he's not on the relay. Like, no, he can compete on the relay. And like I said, I don't have any insight, but I'm pretty confident, I bet money that he's probably going to find his way on the relay. If he doesn't, JAAA, I got to do something. But like, he doesn't have to be in the relay pool. He can compete on the relay. Shout out to Bryan Levell. Shout out to the, Jamaica and all of y'all. Y'all have a strong team. Y'all could win a lot of medals at these World Championships, but y'all got this. Listen, I'm not Jamaican. I know y'all show me a lot of love, but let me know what you think about the Jamaican team going to the World Championships. I'll leave a link in the description for you to check out, but let me know what order you think Jamaica should run for both the men's and the women's 4x1. We'll maybe talk about that another time. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Truly do appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching.